Hey guys, welcome everyone. I saw a lot of you guys in the office today, a lot of familiar faces on here tonight. So you can disable your audio and video if you want. That's probably the easiest way to go. And then we'll get rolling in just a minute here. We're going to be probably on for about 30 to 40 minutes. So it won't keep you too long. Just want to give you some good rocket fuel for the new year to start blasting off with your health. So give it about a minute. We'll get rolling here. Like everybody is muted, so I think we're about ready to rock here. Okay, let's get into it. I'm going to share my screen with everybody so you can see the PowerPoint I have for you tonight. Bring this up. Okay. Okay, so hopefully everybody can see the screen. This is called Tips and Tricks because, again, we want to jumpstart your new year. This isn't going to be a big teaching webinar where I give you a lot of background information. I just want to give you some things that you can do right now to start improving your health and hopefully pour a little lighter fluid on the fire that most people are feeling right now after the beginning of the year. If you're anything like me, I'm tired of the Christmas parties and the cookies and the wine and everything that goes with it. I'm trying to kind of get back to normal life again. So that's what I'm all about. And what I want to do tonight is give you some of the things that I've been working on over the last 20 years, including my green smoothie cleanse. I'm on day 1 of the green smoothie cleanse. I'm going to teach you a fantastic reset. I know that's why a lot of you guys are here, and show you how to do a 3 to 5 day cleanse that you don't have to buy anything other than food for. Works really well. You're not starving, and it's a good reset to your habits, helps clean things out. And that's what I want to go through tonight. So I'll be drinking this all night. And then I have some other things for sleep, for if you're stuck in like emotional eating or have a lot of like food triggers. I'm going to talk about that tonight. And some simple things that I've been learning over this last 20 years that I do every day that I haven't really put into a workshop. So let's go ahead and dive into it. I want to start with the mindset behind any type of plan that you have and to be healthy, whether it's a New Year's resolution or just what I call the cruise ship plan. I want everybody to end up on the cruise ship, not the nursing home. That's our job. But in order to do that, you have to start looking at like, where are you living? Where are you at right now? And everything that I'm going to talk about tonight has a really common theme behind it. And then it's all based on this right side of the illness wellness continuum. So what I want to always be functioning as close to a 9 or a 10 as possible, because I know health isn't how you feel, right? It's how you function, because you can feel really bad and still be healthy, and you can feel really good and be about to die of a heart attack. So I always want to be functioning on this, 8, 9, or 10 level over here. So in order to do that, where most of our people in this world, especially in our country, where they live their life is they're battling disease, right? So they're managing disease, they're managing poor health choices, they're managing inconsistent nutrition, they're managing things that got them slid down this continuum here. So if we start over here at a 10, you should always really be at a 10. Unfortunately, most of us, most people actually end up over here, and that's what you consider healthcare. And all you're really doing is dealing with symptoms, with drug therapy, with surgery, losing normal function. And then most people are in full-blown disease. Like I've been talking about, so many people in our country have Alzheimer's, high blood pressure, diabetes, heart disease, obesity, which is you're in full-blown disease. And then you're dealing with poor quality of life, your potential is limited, body has limited function. I always want to be proactive. So I want to be building good health with regular exercise, good nutrition, educating myself on wellness. So I applaud you guys for being on here. Minimal nerve interference, which is why I'm taking care of my nervous system. And optimal health is really 100% function, developing continuously, you're active participant, okay? So I want to talk about just the difference between vitalism and mechanism for a second, because the idea behind everything I'm going to tell you tonight has to do with cooperating with the way your body was designed. Okay, cooperating with the way your body was designed, which is something I call vitalism. I don't call it, it's been called vitalism. So there's two schools of thought when it comes to your health: vitalism and mechanism. Vitalism, actually start with mechanism. Mechanistic thinking, which is our medical thinking, is you're just pieces and parts. That's all you are. Your heart is just a pump. Your digestive system is just a tube. You are just a product of a bunch of different chemical reactions. And science, which I've heard so many times over the last 2 years, which is about to make me sick, science doesn't trump the way your body was designed. That is science. I want you to understand that. The way your body was designed to function, the rules that it goes by, that's actual science. Science that's put out by Pfizer or Moderna or something else like that, that's not actual science. So it's funny because people now are thinking, well, if you believe that the body can heal itself, you're anti-scientific, which is the most ridiculous garbage I've ever seen. And if the body can heal itself, which it can, that's what it does every single day. That's vitalism. And vitalism is you're more than just the sum of your parts. You're not just pieces and parts. You're not just a bunch of chemical reactions. You're not just a victim of bad genes or bad luck. That there's something special about you, that you're more than the sum of your parts, that there's a life force in you that took you from 2 cells when your body was consumed to 70 trillion cells by the time you were born. And we want to cooperate and honor that power. Okay, that's called vitalism. It doesn't mean I don't believe in science. I believe in science. I have a degree. I'm a doctor. Okay, but when I'm talking about science, that is science, right? And there's all kinds of chemical laws and science behind that. But you can't throw out this amazing fact that you have an incredible capacity to heal and be well. And there's something about you that's special that separates you from a rock. Okay, so here's what I mean in terms of like COVID. Because everybody's been talking about COVID all day, I just want to tell you this when it comes to the variants. As so much of many of you guys have heard me talk about this whole Omicron variant. This is now the second variant beyond the Delta variant. And you heard me talk that what happens in virology is that you tend to get more contagious variants and they become less severe. And what are we seeing with Omicron? It's more contagious, which is why everyone and their brother is getting it, but it's less severe. Now think about how this turns into vitalism. Now, a vitalist way of looking at this would be, okay, this virus right here, which I'm pointing at, is not something meant to just kill me, is not the enemy, it's not something I have to get rid of. It's not any of those things. It is a symbiotic or organism that I've been living with and you've been living with for thousands of years. You have thousands of viruses all the time and they're working with you and working for you. So I'm not looking at this as just, hey, this is the enemy, I got to kill that thing, okay? What I'm looking at here is that virus also has an intelligence in it. And what does the virus want to do? If you think about it, if you're a virus, you want to be spread easily, right? And you don't want to kill the host that you're in, because if you're too severe and you kill the host, what happens to the virus? The virus dies too. So since the virus wants to, proliferate and procreate and live on, it wants to be more contagious. So it's spread to more people, but less severe. And what are we seeing with this variant? More contagious, less severe. There's two pretty outspoken epidemiologists in Britain right now saying, hey, this is not the same virus we were dealing with a year ago. It's mutated. It's a lot less severe than it was before, even though it's more contagious than it was before. We can't treat it like we did before, right? We have to do something different, which means the one specific guy was saying, just like any other virus or cold that you have to move through this and live with this and stop freaking out every time that there's a new variant, because the variant is actually good news. And again, that's a vitalistic way of looking at it. Why are you not hearing about this on the news? Because the news isn't interested in vitalism, okay? So again, everything I'm going to talk about tonight comes from a place that you have an incredible capacity to heal and be well. There's a natural way to deal with just about every disease and illness that you're worried about. And that's what I'm going to get into tonight. Okay. So instead of sleep, talking about sleeping pills, that would be a mechanistic thing. There's chemicals that are wrong in your body. Let's put some new chemicals in your body and everything will be fine. But if you actually look at sleep, you can say, okay, if I'm not sleeping well, what's interfering with my body's ability to heal? And what's the most natural way for me to deal with this? What's the most natural way with the least side effects that I can deal with this problem? Okay. So number one, better sleep is going to come from several different things that you can do, but I want to define what better sleep is. So how much should you sleep as an adult? All the research says 7 to 8 hours is ideal, 7 to 9 hours. Some research says the average American only gets 5.5 hours of sleep per night. You're missing out on an entire REM cycle. They found that insomnia is a major risk factor leading to a shortened lifespan or death from all causes. So if you sleep less than 7 to 8 hours a night, you increase your risk of death from all cause mortality, all causes. Everything can kill you more if you're not sleeping. And the reason is your body, again, was designed to sleep. There's a vitalistic thing going on there. There's incredible intelligence at work when you're sleeping. It drains your brain of beta amyloid proteins. That's when it gets rid of those. That's when your body makes a lot of serotonin that you need to be happy. A lot of things happen when you sleep. Your brain actually heals when you sleep. Your brain shrinks if you don't sleep, right? Your immune system gets strengthened when you're sleeping. Repair happens when you're sleeping. So sleep's really important. Unfortunately, what we're seeing is people are sleeping less and less and more poorly now. So I want to give you some hacks that you can do. Okay, so first thing, those was the easiest. I want to do this lowest hanging fruit first, is insomnitol. Now, insomnitol is something that's from Designs for Health. It's a chewable, and I don't recommend just melatonin for most people because that's typically not enough for most people. Works for some people, but this has not only melatonin in there, but it has L-theanine and 5-HTP. Now look at this versus something like Ambien. Ambien is taking a pill that will knock you out, but then your body's innate intelligence is having to detox from the Ambien throughout the night, which is why a lot of people take Ambien. They don't feel rested when they wake up in the morning. Also has a ton of different side effects. So instead of doing that, I'm going to look at, okay, what can I do most naturally? Well, melatonin, completely natural, helps you sleep. L-theanine helps your body make GABA, which helps your body reduce those brain waves that cause you to what I call wired and tired, where you're wired at night and you're really tired in the morning. GABA helps calm you down and work on your brain waves, which I'll show you here in a minute. 5-HTP helps your body make serotonin, and serotonin is what helps you sleep. These are all natural things with no side effects. Okay, so if you haven't tried the insomnitol, we always have that in the office, and I recommend try one lozenge the first week or so, about 30 minutes before you go to bed. If that doesn't work, then you do the 2 lozenges, which is what they recommend on the bottle, and that works for the majority of people. Okay, so that would be number 1. Number 2 is binaural beats. This is something that's free. Okay, so binaural beats, there's a cool science behind this where you actually wear headphones. All right, so you can put ear pods in or earbuds in when you go to bed at night too, but you need 2 different frequencies. And what it does is it works on your brain waves by delivering 2 different frequencies to your ears. It actually has been shown to lower your brain waves down to a place where you can actually fall asleep. Okay, so when you're laying in bed at night and you can't stop thinking about, oh my gosh, I got to do this tomorrow, or what happened today, or why can't I sleep? Did I forget how to sleep? Why am I still awake? You guys don't know what I'm talking about. Or if you wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning and you can't go back to sleep, your body is in this gamma wave. Okay, and gamma waves are short wavelengths, very close together. And if you look over here, heightened perception, cognitive enhancement, peak awareness. You don't want to be peak awareness when you're trying to sleep. You could also put anxiety here. When you're highly anxious, you're going to be in this gamma wave state. Beta waves would be better. Okay, so beta waves would help you with like focused attention, activity. That's what you want to be when you're just awake. But when you're laying in bed at night, you want to be in this alpha wave down to even this theta wave over here, because the theta waves are on the verge of sleep, and then delta wave, which is the longest wavelength here, you're a deep sleep. Okay, so you want to be in this alpha to delta wave over here, and then that helps you get into or alpha to theta, and that helps you get into delta. So if you're in bed at night and you can't fall asleep, what the binaural beats is they slowly start bringing you down in wavelength to where you can actually fall asleep, and it's amazing. It works. When I first bought binaural beats, it was something called HoloSync at the time, and I spent almost $3,000 on this program for 2 CDs basically that were binaural beats. And I would wake up in the middle of the night. I would have my little Walkman, if you remember those things. I had a little disc player next to my bed. I would put my headphones on, and about 10 minutes later, I'd be back to sleep because I had a habit of waking up at 2 o'clock in the morning a lot. Now, the good news is you don't have to spend $3,000 anymore. You can go to YouTube and you just put in binaural beats. Okay, binaural beats. And there's different frequencies for sleep, like there's alpha waves you can listen to. And a lot of times they're in the background. It really just kind of sounds like a helicopter in the background, like that. And a lot of times they'll put like rain sounds or beach sounds or something in the front of it. Your brain's still hearing the binaural beats, but it's actually more pleasant to listen to. You can listen to theta waves. There's a lot that you can do. You can also get on your phone right now and go to the App Store and put in binaural beats, and you can buy one for 99 cents or probably get one for free if you want to deal with some commercials. But you can actually, when you go to bed at night, you just listen to these for 10, 15, 20 minutes. And a lot of times you'll fall asleep before you even get to the 20 minutes. And if you wake up at night, instead of me freaking out and going, man, I'm never going to fall asleep again, I would just start I would just reach over, now I have my iPad there, and I'll just put on the binaural beats, and I'm usually asleep in 5 or 10 minutes. And again, this is just, it's free. So I can't stress how big a deal this is. So if you're having problems with sleep, binaural beats is a really simple way to help fix that. And then I always have people asking me about pillows, because if you're not comfortable, obviously, then you're not going to sleep well. This is my favorite pillow. It's called the Tricore pillow right here. And you get this at coreproducts.com. So if you go to www.coreproducts.com, what I love about it is it has 2 neck supports. So you can flip it over if you're shorter, or if you have a shorter neck, you can use a smaller neck support, bigger neck support if you're larger. And it's got a little pocket for your head. So it actually keeps your curve from the side like this when you're on your back. But when you lay on your side, it's a normal pillow, because you just move over to the side of the pillow here. And it's a normal pillow when you're on your side. The problem with most of those cervical pillows is you're like this when you're on your back, which is good. But then when you turn over on your side, your head's cocked down like this instead of up like this. So Tricore pillow, absolutely love those. These are, they also have a money back guarantee, which is really good. I love that. But that's what I recommend. And there's different sizes. There's different firmnesses based on what you like and how tall you are. So those are my sleep hacks: Insomnitol, binaural beats, and then the pillow there. I wanted to put this in there because this is what got me started on this webinar anyway. Was better teeth. I was telling a patient about how I had some receding gums, and when I went to the dentist, they were telling me, sorry guys, let me change this. Okay. So when I was having a hard time with my gums, I had some bone loss, and especially in the back. And what happened there was I didn't have enough what's called nitric oxide. So I was trying all kinds of different things, all kinds of different cleanings and flossings and everything, and nothing was really fixing the problem. So I was listening to a podcast who wrote he's bulletproof. Okay. I don't know why I'm hearing. Hang on a second. There you go. Okay, that should sound better to everybody. So I was listening to Dave Asprey, and he had someone on there talking about how you can actually correct gum loss and repair your gums with LED red and blue lights, which I had known about for other reasons, for like neuropathy problems, because I had treated people with that, but I never really thought about it for my gums. But what happens when you put a certain frequency of red and blue light into your gums, it builds blood vessels, can actually help regrow your gums and reduce those deep pockets. So I'm like, okay, well, how much is that? It was like $600. So I just got on Amazon. I said, all right, red lights, red lights for your teeth. And I came up with this one. It's called Starlight. And it's this device right here. You just put it in kind of like a mouthpiece. And I think you do it for 15 minutes, 3 or 4 days a week. And all you do is just walk around with that. It comes with a charger, really simple to use, very simple and straightforward, for I think it was $35. And I went back I did that for about 3 months, went back to the dentist, and my hygienist was saying that was the biggest change that she had seen in my pockets. So she had the testing of the pockets and the receding gums, the biggest change she had seen the entire year. She's like, you got to see this. Look at where your chart before and your chart now. Look how much better those problem areas of receding gums are. And the only reason I put that in there has really nothing to do with chiropractic, but everything to do with chiropractic. Because again, what am I doing? I'm cooperating with the way my body was designed. And if I put more nitric oxide into my body, it will produce more blood vessels, right? Vitalistic, rather than I need to get gum surgery or I need to have a deep cleaning or whatever it was. I'm like, let me try something least invasive first, which is what I always do. So if you have that problem, go ahead and check that out. Okay. A lot of people asking me about vitamin D tests recently as well, so I want to make sure I cover that. If there's one thing that I would say that you can do for your New Year's resolution this year to get more healthy, it's get your vitamin D tested and know where it's at, okay? You can do that on a blood test if you go to a doctor's office. I don't go to a doctor, so I don't have that. I don't want to go to a doctor. I don't want to argue about getting this or that vaccine, so I tend not to go to doctors because, again, that's in the reactive sick care model, especially when I can do it at home and save myself a trip. So I'll show you where you can get a home test in just a minute. But what's really important that you understand here is I always recommend between 60 and 80 nanograms per mole is what your vitamin D level needs to be. Majority of people that I see are under 30, okay? Under 30. Now, when you go to the doctor, it says anything between 30 and 100 is normal. And it's not even close to normal if you're at 30. But if you want to be protected against breast cancer, colon cancer, multiple sclerosis, pancreatic cancer, not to mention COVID, heart failure, hypertension, all of these other things, you want to be above 60. You want to be between 60 and 80. Some of the research is saying 60 to 100. Mine's at about 92 right now, and I'm completely fine with it. So instead of me telling you how much vitamin D you need to take, what I want to find out is, where's your blood level? Let's say your blood level is at 40 and we want to get it to 80. You're taking 5,000 IUs of vitamin D a day. Well, to get it to 80, we would just need to double it. Really simple, right? But I don't know that, because some people taking 5,000 IUs, their blood level is going to already be 80. Everyone's different based on how well you absorb it. A lot of different issues with vitamin D. So again, back to the COVID thing, what's driving me crazy, like I just listened to the president talk today for about 10 minutes about all this new COVID spikes that are happening. The only thing he mentioned for the first 10 minutes I was watching was vaccine, vaccine, booster, vaccine, booster, vaccine, booster. Never talked about health. Never talked about eating less French fries. Never talked about overcoming your diabetes. Never talked about vitamin D. Never talked about anything that would actually make you healthier, that you're in control of. It was just vaccine, 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 vaccine. Okay. Which to me also, I saw something on TV today, said vaccines are safe and effective. What? Like, how are they effective? Everyone and their brother that's vaccinated is now getting the COVID again, right? Are they effective at keeping you from getting really sick and out of the hospital for some people? Yeah. Effective at preventing the spread of COVID, which is what we're measuring this by? I don't think so. What has been very effective is vitamin D, right? So 80% of people, 82% of people hospitalized with COVID issues had low vitamin D. So if we can get this fixed, right? So if we can get you between the 60 and 80, not only are you largely protected against, things like COVID and the flu and all these other things, but you drastically reduce your risk of breast cancer and colon cancer. There's a great study in Journal of Epidemiology that said if everybody was above 60, we would prevent 55,000 cases of breast cancer, 49,000 cases of colon cancer, and 75% of the deaths from these two diseases just by having adequate vitamin D. Okay, so where can you get a vitamin D test? I recommend testing every year, maybe every 6 months. You can get them now. They're so cheap. Everlywell, okay? Everlywell is the name of this company. They do home testing, and now you can get a vitamin D test for $31.85. It's a finger stick. If you want to join in a membership, I guess you can get it for 25 bucks. I haven't looked into that yet, but $31.85. It's a finger prick. You do a couple blood spots on a card. You send it in. They send you your results back within about 10 days. No brainer for everybody on here, and everybody in your family, especially if you're concerned about COVID or if you're concerned about your immune system or any of those things. You got to know what your vitamin D level is. And if you find out what your vitamin D level is, bring it in. I'll look at it and tell you how much vitamin D you need to take to get it optimized, or maybe yours already is optimized. But I don't pretend to just give people 10,000 IUs of vitamin D and think they're okay, because I wasn't. I was taking 10,000 IUs and my vitamin D levels were only 33. So I need to take about 20,000 IUs a day, which is well worth it, because that's a whole lot less expensive than colon cancer or renal cancer or pancreatic cancer. So huge bang for your buck, vitamin D test. Okay, food cravings. I wanted to cover this. So tappings for food cravings and pain. If you have like kind of a chronic pain issue that's bothering you, or specifically food cravings, something called EFT has been shown to work very, very well. It's called Emotional Freedom Technique. The website is EFTuniverse.com. EFTuniverse.com. Just so you guys know too, I'm recording this and I'm going to send out another email with the recording on there. We'll put it on our YouTube page as well. But EFTuniverse.com. Gary Craig is the guy who created this. It's open source, almost all free. You can pay to get different courses and learn more and all of those things, but I've never paid anything, and I know a lot about EFT because I've used all their free resources. But what this is it's acupressure and affirmations that actually reduce addictive tendencies or cravings. So this works for quitting smoking. This works for food addictions. My mom learned this a while back. She was a real comfort eater. She would always crave salty foods or like bread or pasta or things like that weren't good for her conditions. And she could never really overcome it. And then she started doing EFT, and it absolutely works. It decreases the amount of craving or the intensity of the cravings. So what you do basically is you're going through and you're doing these points. So there's this karate chop point, eyebrow, side of the eye, under the eye. So basically you're doing karate chop above the eye, outside of the eye, here, under the chin, collarbone. And you're doing it like that while you're repeating this affirmation. And the affirmation could be, one of the ones they use is, even though I have this blank, I deeply and completely accept myself. So instead of hating yourself for having this craving or saying, why do I have this again? Or what's wrong with me? You just reduce the charge on the feeling. So even though I really want these peanut butter cookies, I deeply and completely accept myself. Even though I'm having this craving, I deeply and completely accept myself. oh, this craving, this craving, this craving. Even though I'm having this craving, even though I can never get over this craving. And by the time you do that a few times, the vast majority of people that I've talked this through with is the craving was maybe a 9 when they started. After one round of tapping, it's a 7. After 2 or 3 rounds of tapping, it's a 4, and they can manage that craving and go, okay, I don't feel like I need that cookie anymore. Guys, it's crazy, but it absolutely works. So EFTuniverse.com, they have 19 videos on here on weight loss and craving. So if you want to learn more about the science behind it, you can go to EFTuniverse.com. I think I went to free resources, and there's 19 videos right here. So if you're having that problem, then make sure you hop on there and do that, because now I'm going to get to what you actually eat in a minute. And if you're having a craving, like, man, I really wish I came home tonight and my wife had cooked dinner, and I was like, oh man, that sounds really good. Thankfully, I had this webinar to go do, and I had my smoothie. But if I hadn't, I would have just done some EFT tapping, and it works 90% of the time. And if it doesn't, you give into the craving and you go back the next time. It's not the end of the world, but it absolutely works amazing. Okay, a couple more here. So yoga for back pain and desk rehab. If you sit at a desk all day long, that's something I've dealt with my whole life, bending over patients and sitting at a computer, writing books, doing webinars, all these things that I do. Pretty rough on my back. I have some kind of chronic low grade back issues, play a lot of golf as well. So one thing that I've found that really, really helps me is this yoga for back pain. It's a specific video on YouTube. If you go, this is called Yoga for Cyclists, okay? Yoga for Cyclists. If you just go on YouTube and you click on Yoga for Cyclists, you will see this lady who's very flexible and is a great yoga teacher. But what I like about it is she's teaching 4 dudes like me who are really inflexible and can't do 90% of the poses that she's doing. It really turns me off to watch a video where somebody is like 9 times more flexible than I am. So this is 30 minutes, and it's really all based on your hips and your back extensors and the things that we have problems with because we sit too much, especially as cyclists. I was doing that a lot. It's about 30 minutes long. I usually would do 20, 25 minutes of it, and I would do it a few days a week, and it made a huge difference. So if you just go, again, YouTube, and then you search for Yoga for Cyclists, these guys are called GCN, Global Cycling Network, right down here. These are the guys. They're these 4 British guys, 3 British guys. Again, make you feel really good about the yoga that you're able to do. And this has made a big difference in my back for a long time. Okay, so if you're having any chronic issues with your low back or your neck or your psoas, anything like that, then that's something we can absolutely help you with. All right, so now what a lot of you guys came for, which is our green smoothie cleanse. So if you're ready to reset your eating, then what I recommend is some type of cleanse that's going to be a reset instead of what we've been eating. So I ate, when I went to Houston, there was a wedding. I had pizza, I had fajitas twice, I had a cheesesteak. I think the only healthy meal I had was at the wedding. There was wine. It was like, it wasn't good, right? So I came back, and my body's like, okay, dude, enough of this stuff. I'm ready to get back on track. So yes, even I fall off the wagon sometimes, but it wasn't even falling off the wagon for me. I'm like, I'm gonna have 5 days where I treat my body not great, and I'm gonna get back on it, right? But that can turn into 2 or 3 months of doing that. So if you're ready to reset and get into a cleanse, then here's what I recommend. So we're gonna have these in the office, printed in the office for you as well. So when you come in, I'll probably have Misha send one out in an email as well. I'll have this actual, actually, I'll just put this in the email. That's a better idea. I'll put this actual graphic in the email. But here's the bottom line. You make a smoothie that looks like this, and you put it, so I made a big smoothie this morning. I made the apple berry. So you basically do a huge smoothie in the morning, and this makes 3 smoothies right here, okay? So you do 1 for breakfast, and then you put the other 2/3 in your jar like this, and you put it in the fridge. So you're done cooking for the rest of the day. And then I came home for lunch, and I drank half of this, poured that in a glass and drank half of it. Now I'm drinking the rest of it, okay? So apple berry smoothie, what's in it? Apple, I put 1 banana, 1 apple, a cup and a half of frozen blueberries, a couple cups of water, 2 handfuls of spinach. I did not need any stevia because I think it's sweet enough, but if it's not sweet enough, you could put a little bit of stevia or monk fruit. And then you can also put protein powder, like the Dream Protein that we have in the office, if you want to add a little bit of a punch to it and give you a little bit more satiety. The more protein you have, the more satisfied you generally are there. So 3 of these a day, okay? And then you can snack on crunchy veggies, nuts, hard-boiled eggs, and apples in between smoothies. And everybody always wants to ask, like, well, how much can I snack on? How many times a day? I'm trying to make this as simple as possible, as much as you want. You can eat as many apples and as many almonds as you absolutely want. Because you think about it, eating this way is going to be far better than anything you've done the last 2 weeks, right? So it really doesn't matter if you eat a few too many almonds or an extra apple, because you're getting great things for you. So don't put too much thought into it. So what I did today is I had it for breakfast. Then I had half an apple before I went to the gym. And then I had another one for lunch, and I had 2 hard-boiled eggs and some almonds. And then for dinner, I'm having this, and I'll go have another hard-boiled egg and probably some carrots, right? And maybe, heck, I don't know, maybe another half an apple if I splurge. And drink plenty of water when you do that. You're going to lose a few pounds, but more importantly, you're going to recharge your system. So you'll sleep better. It's a good detox. And what I love about this is you're not hungry. If you're hungry, eat an apple or have some almonds. This is not a cleanse where you have to starve yourself. So here's the 4 smoothies that I recommend: apple berry, pineapple spinach, pineapple berry, apple mango. You notice most of these have a good bit of fruit in there. These aren't ones that I'm going to do on an ongoing basis, because I try not to get quite as much sugar as some of these have in them. But again, this keeps you from being too hungry. So if you ever wanted to, make these a little bit healthier for you in the long run, you could do leave out the pineapple chunks because they're fairly high in sugar. But again, this is going to be way better than what you've eaten in the last several days. So again, you're going to make 1 smoothie. You're going to divide it into 3. You do that for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And then you're going to have your apples and hard-boiled eggs and nuts in between. Now, what this does when you come off of it, what I always tell people, I'm already thinking of so Friday when I'm done with this, it's going to be really easy for me to eat stir-fried vegetables and rice, because it's going to taste really, really good. So it just resets your system where you're like, okay, maybe I want to start doing paleo, or maybe I want to start doing a keto diet for a while, or maybe I want to, for me, I want to get rid of any white flour and white sugar, added sugar, because I ate way too much of that probably in the last month. And those are my 2 big things. So if I went to a Mexican restaurant, it would be very easy for me to pass up the tortillas, because that's the white flour, right? And just get the fajitas and eat them on some beans and rice, which fits in for me perfectly after I'm off of this smoothie. So basically it's just a nice reset for you. So the green smoothie cleanse, one of my favorite things. So hopefully you're taking down some of this. You can go and get started. Just a couple tricks is you got to buy a lot of spinach. Use up a lot of spinach. I always get frozen pineapple, frozen mango, frozen blueberries. Much easier that way. Make sure you put enough water in there, and then drink lots of water in between. So hopefully that helps everybody with what you can do to start knocking this thing out. And I recommend 3 days at least. You could do 5 days. You could do 10 days if you want to. I've seen people do this for 5 or 10 days and lose 15, 20 pounds. And it's absolutely doable. I always lose a few pounds after doing it for 3 or 4 days. But the biggest thing is it's a great reset. Okay. All right. So I want to talk a little bit about the gut now, because since we're talking about eating, I do want to talk about the gut specifically, and how important it is to actually detoxify your gut. Hippocrates said, all diseases begin in the gut. Okay. All diseases begin in the gut. Was he right? Well, if you look at it, the research we're looking at now, he's absolutely right. So what begins in the gut? Autoimmune diseases, brain disorders, cognitive decline, brain fog, dementia, Alzheimer's. A lot of those things have been linked to the gut. Cancer, fatigue, and joint pain. There's something called lipopolysaccharides that leak through your gut when you have leaky gut that have been absolutely linked to Alzheimer's disease. Cancer, because of the inflammation that it causes. Fatigue and joint pain. Joint pain is largely caused by issues with your gut. Mood disorders, which I'll show you in a second. Learning disabilities, infertility, allergies, asthma, chemical sensitivities, or food sensitivities. All of this can be linked to your gut. So a good way of starting to repair your gut would be doing the green smoothie cleanse. Okay. Typically, that's not going to be enough to really repair your gut, because we got to go a little bit further than that. Because what we're dealing with for most people is 2 problems. Number one is antibiotic use. Antibiotics kill the good bacteria in your gut and cause what's called dysbiosis, which means there's an overgrowth of bad bacteria and not enough of the good bacteria. It's called dysbiosis. You could have something called SIBO, which is small intestine bacterial overgrowth. That's a big issue if you don't work on those things. So we got to get good gut buddies in our system so they can counterbalance the bad gut buddies. And if you've ever been on antibiotics, then you have dysbiosis because it's killed so much of the good bacteria in your gut. So we have to repopulate that. That's why probiotics are a good idea, but done in the right way. But the second big problem that I see is what's called leaky gut. And leaky gut is so prevalent now. And the reason that you have leaky gut is toxins, specifically things like glyphosate, which is sprayed on so much of your food, which is Roundup. Gluten, because gluten is one of the biggest lectins. Lectins cause a breakdown of the gut lining. Other chemicals, other toxins, sugar can do that. A lot of things, too much alcohol can do that. And what happens is these tight junctions between your cells, this is the inside of this is like your stomach, and this is the bloodstream here. Only a very small amount of things should be able to get through these cells, right? But what happens when these tight gut junctions break down is all this stuff starts getting down into the bloodstream, which never should have been there. It can actually, some of these things can cross the blood-brain barrier. So because of this inflammation of these of the cells and the breakdown of the tight junctions, you're going to get things in the body that don't belong in the body, specifically in the blood. So you're going to get nutrient malabsorption, which is going to be bloating, constipation, diarrhea, autoimmune diseases, which would be MS, fibromyalgia, lupus, those types of things. Food intolerances, where foods really bother you. You swell up and foods bother you that didn't used to bother you before. Blood-brain barrier breach, which is linked to Alzheimer's disease, and systemic inflammation, which is going to be the brain fog, the joint pain, all of those things can be caused by leaky gut. So I'm going to be teaching a workshop coming up on this. It's a full makeover. So we're going to do an hour-and-a-half workshop, and it's called Love My Guts. And it's going to be coming up on the 25th, okay? So Tuesday, January 25th from 6:30 to 8. So it's about 30 minutes longer than normal because I want to make sure I really give you what you need there. And what we're going to be teaching you is the 4 causes of gut issues and the 3 R's to repair it. So I'm going to teach you the 4 biggest offenders that are causing gut issues or leaky gut, and then the 3 R's to repair it. There's a systematic order that you go to actually repair your gut. If you've ever read the book, The Plant Paradox by Stephen Gundry, he talks about this stuff all the time. My daughter has dealt with this for a long time, and she was always sick. She always had food intolerances that none of the rest of us had. And it turns out she had real problems with leaky gut. And once we started fixing that, that's changed her life. She had like IBS type issues, all kinds of problems. So this is something that I've lived and I've learned. And this is what we're going to be teaching you on Tuesday, January 25th. So what you're going to get, pay attention to some emails that are going to be coming, some texts that are going to be coming. We're going to send you the Eventbrite link where you can click on it, register for yourself, and then bring someone with you. There are so many people that are suffering with the things that I just discussed. Acid reflux, brain fog, joint pain, constipation, bloating, acne is another really big one. All of those, systemic inflammation, all of those things are so much caused by the gut. And we're going to teach you how to fix that as we move on into this new year. When you do that, it doesn't just help your gut, it also helps your brain as well. 70% of the serotonin in your body is made in your gut. So I wrote an article this week in the office on how if you have a gut problem, you can also have a depression, anxiety, and sleep problem because you don't have serotonin. So if you're having any problems with those things, then the first thing I do recommend doing is fixing your gut. I could have picked a lot of things to teach in January. I picked this because most of us have really messed our guts up over the last couple of months or years. But also if you fix this thing, all the other dominoes start falling, okay? So again, that's gonna be Tuesday, January 25th from 6:30 to 8. You're going to learn the 4 causes of gut issues, the 3 R's to repair it. Bring someone you love that needs a real health solution right now. All I'm hearing out there is so much more mechanistic thinking, wait for a drug, instead of actually helping people take control over their health, which is what we need to get us out of the health crisis that we're in. Because you think there's a big health crisis with COVID, there's an even bigger health crisis with heart disease, obesity, diabetes, because we haven't done anything about that, really, so make it worse. So make sure you get to that. Tuesday, January 25th is down at One Life Church where we do all of our workshops. So got about a minute left. I have this chat open. If you guys have any specific questions, fire them off there quickly and I'll see if I can answer them for you. Mark said yoga for golf seems like way more fun. Cycling is a lot of work. Mark knows me well. Yeah, cycling or yoga for cycling is the same thing as cycling for golf. I still do the same thing. Ann says, where is the 25th meeting? That's going to be at One Life Church, which is right down the road at Gun Club, basically Smoky Hill and 470. And again, you're going to get a link with the Eventbrite to sign up and register to save your seat. It's a free class, but just really excited for that one. It's going to really kick off a great year for us. All right. I think that's about all we have time for. So thanks for being on tonight. Hopefully you got some great things. Start that green smoothie cleanse. Look for an email from us that has some resources for you on this as well. And I can't wait for a great year. I know we're all ready for this next year to be the year we all thought 2020 was going to be. So here's to making it an awesome year. So bless you guys. We'll talk to you soon.
See you, Dr. Eric.
Take care, man.